You're listening to The Bounding Box, where we talk about web development, geo development, and everything in between. All right, welcome to The Bounding Box. So today I'm joined by a good friend here, Richie Carmichael. So Richie, please introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what you do, what's your problem?
My problem. Good morning. Thank you, Renee. Firstly, thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to be a guest on your show. My name is Richie Carmichael. I'm a developer on the JavaScript team, and I've been here for the past 4 years. Hard to believe.
Wow, it's been 4 years on the team already. Wow, man.
I know, crazy.
So how long have you been at Ezra? Because you were in a different group before joining the JavaScript team.
Yeah, I was in what called the prototype lab. It was also nicknamed the benchmarks. This is a group set up like many years ago, and originally it was set up to participate in competitive benchmarks. But then over time, it's evolved into more like pre-sales work and applied R&D. So they supported like conference demos and gave demonstrations to visiting guests. And we worked with plenaries at the conferences. But the majority of the time was just playing.
Yeah,
We
right.
got to play with gadgets.
A lot of people might have seen a lot of the apps that you've put together on the big screen at the UC plenaries, at Dev Summit, and you tackled a lot of things you could do with the API before the API actually was implementing them, right? Like I think you had done the original satellite 3D map, right?
Yes. We were trying to push the envelope and introduce like third-party libraries or other gadgets integrating. Another example is the gamepad. We tested using the gamepad with the API to navigate in 3D.
That's awesome. The gamepad work you did was awesome because you actually did it with your own Xbox controller and everything, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's really
Yeah. We also got to play with other gadgets like the Kinect, using the
Oh,
Kinect,
nice.
the Xbox Kinect. So you might have seen some videos of me waving my arms like a crazy person, and using that to like navigate in 3D.
Yeah, and the gamepad is really cool for 3D, especially like underground. It can get a little tricky every now and then trying to use the keyboard and the mouse to kind of navigate around here and there. But when you got that gamepad in your hand, it's just so natural. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna move around like I do in a video game in a 3D environment. Check out some 3D underground pipes, something like that. It's awesome. It's really cool.
Best of all, you can justify hours of gaming in your spare time too.
Oh, that's awesome, Richie. So, out of all this cool stuff that you've worked on, and working on all these really neat features in the API, what do you think is the most difficult problem you've had to tackle, or app maybe you've had to build?
The most challenging for me is working with the OGC stuff, the WMS, WMTS. The reason for that is because the specification is so complicated. It links to other specifications, but also there's many different implementations. So many different server implementations. So we're always coming across unusual exceptions that we have to test against. See some odd behavior. Is that something's wrong with our API, or is it some server's interpretation of the spec that we need to account for?
And are those still all XML based responses?
It is. So the difference is the new OGC API features, which we recently released the layer for. That's the OGC feature layer that we call. That is REST based.
Okay. So that's a little bit easier to work with and
much easier.
Get that data out, right?
Yeah, more easier, more modern, way more cleaner. And the server sends a response back as GeoJSON, so which is very web friendly.
Mm-hmm. Which is neat because once you get those OGC layers into the API, you actually get all the benefit you would if you were using like a feature service, because you can do all of the client-side effects and filtering and querying and stuff like that.
Yep, blending, highlighting. Yep, everything's available.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it tastes and behaves like a regular layer, regular feature layer.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you did a lot of work on that stuff, getting all that work in the API and stuff. That was really cool. So now, from going to the most challenging work you've done, what's been the most fun to work on? Maybe the challenging work was the fun stuff. I don't know, but
no, definitely. Not the OGC, definitely not. I mean the old stuff. I mean the gamepad was fun to work with. That was my first project when I joined the team many years ago. But I think the time slider was also quite cool because I was involved at the beginning, at the inception.
Hmm.
So designing it, putting together, and that was, I believe, the first introduction of time actually in the
Oh, wow.
4X API.
Okay.
So this is when the layers became time enabled, and we had a widget so the user could adjust the time.
And that's really cool because that works also on the imagery data set as well. So it's not just feature based, but image based.
And the OGC, so it supports WMS supports the time as well.
Okay. Oh, that's nice. It's really cool to be able to play with those time sliders and apply different effects and filtering and stuff. And you get this really nice replay of something happening, some kind of events, whether it's population growth. We've got that earthquake demo as well, which is neat. Weather events stuff. That's a really cool feature we've got.
Yeah, and works in 2D and 3D.
Now, one thing you're also working on, which I think is really cool, is so we've always had routing and directions in the API, but you actually implemented a real route layer now. So it's like its own feature of the API beyond just like I get a response back from server and do something with it, right?
That's correct. So the route layer is a standalone layer. It's a smart layer that knows how to solve itself. So you give it some stops like a start and an end, and you say solve yourself, and it'll generate the best route. So you don't need to have a widget. You can just tell the layer to solve itself, and it'll draw the best route. And if I can give a leak or not, can I?
Yeah, sure. Feel free.
Yeah. So we're working on interactivity. So with a layer in your map, you'll be able to enable interactive behavior. So you can grab a stop, like a beginning, and drag it around, and we can click on a midpoint of a route and move it, and it'll automatically refresh to show the new route.
Oh, that is really cool because that's super useful for. I mean, just think about delivery folks, right? They have and it's not just like maybe DoorDash type delivery. I mean, like people that have like routes they have to work on. They could put their route for the day in there, but things always happen, right? Maybe
Hmm.
they've got to get rerouted in the middle of their regular shift or something, so they can either they can or someone else can easily kind of adjust that route for them while they're on the road, and they just get updated and they can automatically navigate to where they need to go, right?
Exactly. Or they may enter an address for one of the stops, but they may want to adjust on the screens for like the Uber example, right? You enter an address, but you may want to move the pin slightly to where you want to be picked up.
Oh, nice. I didn't think about that. That's a really cool feature. Because that's happened to me plenty of times. My Uber will try to pick me up. It says it's across the street, but
Mhm.
realistically, there's like a barrier in the way. I can't get across the street, but the maps don't know that, so
Mhm.
it makes things very tricky every now and then to navigate. And those are weird things when you navigate too, because you could be on your way somewhere, but maybe there's construction that's not part of the map just yet, it hasn't reached that level, so you've got to reroute around there, figure another way. So
Well, another common one for actually dragging the midpoint is you have a route and someone says, you must drive by this location. It's an awesome view, or is it something getting constructed? So you may want to drag the route to pass by a certain location.
oh, nice, that's cool. I think about that, like you want to do a little sightseeing or something like that
Hmm.
too.
Exactly.
Can I apply effects and stuff like that to the route layer too? Does it have that
You can,
capability?
you can. Yeah, effects, highlighting works. Um, you can actually use a hit point right now as well. The hit point will return you a stop, or we're actually using these new abstract objects because to give you more information. So whether it's a stop or the actual direction component, we call them direction lines. That'll be returned when you do a hit test.
Ah, that's very cool. I actually have really cool applications for that. Like as you're maybe you're tracking yourself along the route and you're doing just random buffer analysis of what's nearby you or something like that. That's cool. And automatically you can do that with the route too, where they generate the route ahead of time. And I know when I worked at county, we had field guys that were restricted from going to certain areas. Like they couldn't
Hmm.
go within a mile of a gentleman's club or something like that, right? So they could actually, someone could say, oh, no, 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 we're going to adjust this route around this neighborhood for you. Geofencing, right? Just some like ad hoc
Yeah,
geofencing that they could do. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
So I could apply bloom to my route.
You can.
Ah,
Yep.
that's my favorite. All right, Richie. So, is there any other plans for the route layer? Anything you can drop for that in the future, or?
Something we just added, which will be available in the next release. This is for directions. Sorry, for directions, is that we added the ability to set the units. So currently,
Ah,
everything's in kilometers and minutes, I believe, which is a little bit unusual because some areas may want miles or they may want feet. So now we have a setting. You can say metric versus imperial, and that setting will be automatically defined based on your portal. So most
oh,
viewers,
okay.
customers who are connected to the portal, it'll automatically show up as miles, feet, and also for metric customers it'll be kilometers, meters, and even down to centimeters.
That's nice. That's pretty cool. I'm sure that a lot of users are gonna be looking forward to that one. That's neat.
Yes, yes, and also to the time is it'll show you in seconds, minutes, and hours rather than just everything in minutes. Which if you have a very short travel segment, it'll give you that time in seconds, not just in a 0.01 minutes.
And the route layer and all of its information can also be saved as part of a web map. Is that right?
That's correct. So the route layer can be persisted and or saved as part of a web map, but it can also be saved independently as a portal item.
Okay. Nice. That's cool.
And that portal item can be referenced inside a web map as well. So it's a little bit unusual that is possible. Actually, most people do that because they want to maybe have multiple web maps referencing the same route layer.
Okay. That's cool. I see the usefulness in that. Pretty much cover all the bases there.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome, Richie. Well, I want to be respectful of your time, but I do want to ask if you've got any tips or any tricks for listeners, anything at all that you want to throw out there.
One tip would be for the people that are using directions right now, best to adopt the new approach where you explicitly create and assign the route layer um, and add that route layer to the map. The reason for that is because we're building a lot of smartness or intelligence into the route layer. So it's best that you add that, you create it yourself, and you add it to the map, and then associate it with the directions widget, which is very similar to like how Sketch works
Okay.
with graphics layers.
So then let the widget feed the information to the route layer you've given it, and then you've got your route layer set up the way it needs to be set up and everything.
That's correct. And that gives you
Awesome.
some added benefits. You could use the directions widget to actually interactively modify multiple route layers. So you
Oh,
can switch between them.
that's cool. I didn't think about that. That's a nice feature. Wow. Awesome, Richie. Well, thank you very much, Richie. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time, and you have yourself a great day.
Very good. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Bounding Blocks today. Please subscribe for more content.